just take you through an eval flow for notation. This is the screen you would use to log in, so we'll just start there. And then this is the next page you'd come to where you can get to any existing patients you might have if you have a daily note you want to do that day. For today's purposes, we're going to be doing an eval, so we'll go to new patient. The first thing that you note here is that you're going to need patient consent. So, you can make sure that they're okay being recorded, let them know how the data is going to be used, and also that AI is going to be used. So once they agree, you can check that off. And then the next thing that you need is just what you're going to be treating that day and the type of visit. We don't really need any other patient info. Now, if you want to put that in for your information, when you're storing all of this patient data, that's fine. You can do that, but you don't have to in order to create an eval. So let's go ahead and start a patient. So you'll notice that nothing is being captured right away. So that is under the PT's control. So they can start the session whenever they're ready. The other thing to note is up here, it says selected language is English. That's going to be the default. But if you do have a patient who speaks another language, you do have some other options here. And you can click on that and it will capture English as well as that other language, translate the other language, which you'll see come up here in the transcription, and then everything will be written over here in English. So that can help the PT to know what the patient's saying, but also help the PT, if they know that language, to not have to write everything over into English. It will capture that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and start a session. My name is Christina. I'll be your physical therapist today. Can you tell me a little bit about what brings you into therapy?
Absolutely, Christina. So, what brings me in is that my right shoulder's been bothering me for a little while now. It started after I was doing some overhead lifting, and I've just noticed this kind of nagging pain whenever I try to reach up or do certain movements. So, I'm hoping we can work on that together.
Excellent. Can you tell me a little bit more about how it happened? Was there a particular incident, or do you feel like it's kind of just come over time?
Yeah, of course. So, I think it was mostly one particular incident. I was lifting something overhead at home, and I felt a bit of a twinge in my shoulder. And after that, it just kind of lingered. So, it felt like it started from that one moment, and then it just kind of stuck around.
Okay, I know you mentioned that it's nagging pain, but I'd like to understand a little bit more about the pain in general. Other than nagging, are you getting any sharp pain, shooting pain, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's mostly that kind of dull, nagging ache. But if I do certain movements, like if I reach overhead or reach out to the side, then I can get a little bit of sharper pain. It's not really shooting down my arm or anything, but it can definitely get a bit more intense with those movements.
Okay. And what would you say your pain is right here when you're sitting kind of at rest on a scale from 0 to 10? 0 being no pain and 10 being the worst pain you could think of.
Right now, just sitting here, I'd say it's probably around a 2 out of 10. It's definitely there, but it's pretty mild while I'm just at rest and not moving it too much.
And then what would you say it gets to at its worst?
When it's at its worst, like if I'm reaching overhead or doing something that really aggravates it, it can get up to maybe a 6 out of 10. So it definitely gets more uncomfortable with certain movements.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about how it might affect you day to day? Like, are you having trouble sleeping? Are there any activities such as showering or dressing or things like that you have trouble with?
Yeah, definitely. So day to day, I've noticed it can be a bit of a nuisance. Sometimes sleeping on that side is a little uncomfortable, and certain things like getting dressed or reaching up to grab something can definitely feel a bit limited. So yeah, it does kind of get in the way of those everyday activities a bit.
Okay. And are you noticing any numbness tingling at all or not?
No, not really. It's pretty much just the pain. I haven't had any numbness or tingling or anything like that. So it seems pretty localized to the shoulder itself.
And prior to this, have you had any issues with your shoulder, any previous injuries or surgeries?
Nope, no previous injuries or surgeries on this shoulder. It's actually been pretty healthy until now. So this is really the first time I've run into any issues with it.
Okay. So as you can see over here, it'll catch the conversation and then start filling in these chips. And as they're captured, they become green. And then it will fill in here. You can always highlight here and fill in a chip and then edit it and it will put it into the summary as well. And then you can quickly go through, edit anything here as well. So it basically just keeps it all really easy for the PT to keep control over, but also allows them to kind of edit on the fly. Um, so once you've gone through the subjective section, then you can move on to the objective section, which I'll talk through a little bit before I start. So this is just meant to be kind of flexible for how each PT prefers to work. Also gives PTs the opportunity to easily copy paste between EMR and our platform if, as needed. Um, so if they like to type shorthand, for example, you can type there. If you want to just type right in here, you can. If you want to call out numbers and you're across the room, you can do that like this. Right shoulder abduction 110. You also have the option of clicking on a side and then going to measure it, and then all you have to do at that point is call out the numbers. Internal rotation 30, external rotation 20. Abduction 180, internal rotation 30, external rotation 60. Same with manual muscle test. Flexion 4 minus, abduction 3 plus, internal rotation 4 plus, external rotation 4 plus. Flexion 5, abduction 5, internal rotation 5, external rotation 5. So then you can go to special tests and just quickly type that in as well. You can also go into these and do shorthand. And it will turn it into a sentence, which you can add. So it just kind of keeps it flexible, like I said, and allows you to easily copy and paste between systems. That is, unless you're using a plugin. So then once you're done with the subjective and objective, we come down here to the assessment, and that you can generate with this. Now it uses both of those sections, and we've trained our AI model to take information from the first two sections to create summaries, pick up codes for ICD-10, CPT codes, suggest goals, suggest home exercise programs as well, based on the information it's capturing. So then you can look through the assessment and see what it has listed. Again, you can make any edits here that you would like. Again, it suggests goals, like I said, and these you can edit as well. And then coming down here, it will suggest ICD-10 codes, but if you would like to change that at all, you can add. And again, we kind of like initially for PTs to do some of these edits because over time our platform is meant to kind of adapt to how they prefer to take notes and how they prefer the flow they like, how they like to word things. So in the beginning, the edits are a good way to train our platform with how each PT prefers to work. So then you go into plan, and again, it's suggesting some CPT codes, but if you want to add more, you can quickly just check them off there. You've got suggestions for patient education, but you can always, again, edit and delete anything that you don't want. It also will suggest home exercise programs, but you can add anything that you want. And then you can generate a home exercise program. Now, if you have a particular home exercise program that you prefer to use, we are happy to integrate with that home exercise program platform as well. It just so happens that this is the one that we're using right now, so that's what I'll demo with. But it'll come up with some exercises and you can kind of click the ones that you want. And then once you've selected all the ones you want, you can go to print, and it'll create a PDF that you can either send off to your patient, print off. Now, for if you have a home exercise program that has a video, our platform creates a QR code, which makes it really easy for the patient to just quickly look up the video. So that is nice if you have a home exercise program platform that uses video. So then you basically have your full note here now. If you want, you can do billing here as well, but I know most times people will end up doing that in the EMR, but it is an option here as well. So that can be filled out. And then once you're done, you can go to an exam, and you have the ability to look over each section quickly again and make any changes you want here before you're done. And then when you're done, you can go to sign and submit, and your note is all done.